Hi, I'm Vibhor. I'm based in Gurgaon and I'm a photographer, a filmmaker, and a multidisciplinary artist. If I'm not wrong, because I don't like to categorize myself as just a photographer. I like doing everything
Yeah, an artist.
as an artist, if you want to call it. Yeah.
My name is Lakshya Khanduri. I make films for living and also I'm passionate about visuals in general. So that's who I am. I also stunt ride. I also help people create music. I do all of that stuff as well. So today we are at Vibhor's studio. And thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, you're welcome here anytime, man.
I love the entire space. The space is really good and I got a lot of inspiration from here. We're building our studio, you know that. In the coming content, I'm going to be talking about that. I wanted to be here. I wanted to just look around, and the space in itself is really welcoming. It's out of this world in two ways, basically. One, when I'm here, I don't feel like that I'm in Gurgaon, first of all.
Yeah.
Because all that buzz, fuzz and all. You have a balcony with plants, it doesn't feel like I'm in Gurgaon currently. It feels like I'm in my city only,
Any other place.
Any other place, yeah. Secondly, basically, I've been watching your space in your stories, in your videos, and I really wanted to come here. Today we are here, we're going to talk about a lot of things. And I feel personally that the kind of setup that you have done is really aspirational, ambitious, and not like a very mediocre Indian setup. If nobody knows you that you're from India, nobody would feel like that, So first of all, I also want to tell you that Vibhor and I have shot a couple of projects together. We also go back. We have a common friend, Deepak Ramola.
Yeah.
You have shot for him, I have shot for him, and he's more of a friend.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends now.
Yeah.
And we met on a road trip, and on that road trip, we did our first collaboration where we were there for 13 days and he used to select one picture from each day and write a poem around that picture. So हमने वो 12 दिन करके एक ऐसे series start करी थी. And he wrote such amazing poems around my good enough pictures back then, because I'm talking about 2015.
Imagine.
Like almost 10 years.
10 years. Imagine.
And we also presented that at 2-3 exhibitions. And yeah.
You've done quite exhibitions, like quite a few
Not
exhibitions.
exhibitions, but yeah, I've done few. And like the best part about that was that nothing was forced from my end. It just all happened organically.
Yeah.
I did one with Start India as well. Yeah, at Sassoon Dogs. And I did one with Social, and I've done with Deepak, and I've done with Deepak with Google Arts and Culture for the Tanzania project. That was amazing. Yeah.
I saw you guys also did some videos when you were there.
Then Siddharth Kovan.
Yes. Amazing content. I think I have gone through, not entirely, but I have gone through some of that, and
it's still available, by the way, if you want to check out all the stories from Tanzania from that project. They're online. They were part of the Google Arts and Culture.
Nice.
It's an online exhibition. Anyone can view and go through it anytime.
You also have a small exhibition in your studio upstairs.
That's open.
Yes. And also that part of the studio nobody has seen, I think. Your audience.
Yes.
In general, I'm talking about.
In general, I don't, because I feel that's like more of the chilling spot. So I don't know, I post less around my chillings generally on social media.
If somebody haven't met you, you seem like a very into your art all the time, and very professional, I'm not saying you're not professional, but it feels like you're working all the time. You want to talk about your work and your learnings and that kind of stuff, rather than like your life in journal and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably. I think it's been like that. And our work is also such, right, where we're always doing something. Even if you're chilling, we would want to record. When was the last time you traveled anywhere without a camera?
I can't remember it.
So even for our personal vacations, I'm always carrying 2-3 extra stuff, a camera bag. So it's like But that's the reason we started as well, right? Because we love doing this. So
The life is around
yes,
the work. The work is not work anymore.
Yes.
It's life.
yeah, but it still feels like work sometimes. Most of the times.
I want to talk about how brand work has transformed. Because you've been working like for last, I think, I don't know, like 50, 20 years, you know. You've worked with whatnot, the biggest clients in the market, you know, and you have worked for your own projects, your passion projects. I just want to understand, you know, brand work in general, you know, like how has it transformed over the years, where it is right now?
I feel brand work is at a level where it's mostly around where the brand wants to set up an identity or go for a certain look.
Yeah.
And I feel it's a mix of the right framing, the right tones,
Correct.
and the right pre-production.
Correct.
And that has evolved in the last 5-7 years.
Yeah.
Because before we used to just go and shoot, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Now it's more structured.
Correct.
And there are presentations, there are decks involved, there is so many pre-production aspects, and the edits are way too detailed.
Yeah.
So there is obviously a step up,
Yeah.
probably a much bigger step up in the last 3-4 years, which I feel is amazing. And if you I keep going back to my old pictures and then you compare, right, what you would have done differently.
Yes.
So yeah, I keep doing that. And agar ye lens hota us time, or it's just not that anymore. It's like agar this location was there, or if this model was there, or the styling was better, so that aspect is there.
I know what you mean, because we keep going back to our work, because that's a good exercise to do, because, you know, like then you know that what could have done better, you know. We also do it like right after the shoot, as soon as we have completed the shoot or maybe delivered the debriefing, we do it internally with our team. In my opinion, you know, like I always thought that brands are more focused about their products from day one. If you remember, you know, like back then when somebody asked us to do a product shoot or maybe automobile or whatever, most of the content was around that product. The product has to be there, you know, like in all the images or things. Today, I feel the brands have evolved to a point where they know that it has to be part of their lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, it's a vibe, it's a full package that they have to sell.
Yes.
Because everyone in the world now knows what aesthetics are, what's good, what's not.
Yeah.
So brand also have to adapt in so many ways that way.
If you remember when we used to do like those drives, Audi drives, do you remember those days?
Yeah.
So most of the pictures or most of the videos that these guys shortlisted, they were not focused about the vibes.
The art wasn't. Yeah, it was just like.
It was just like, just give us like what the highlight was, how the car was looking. Initially, they didn't even focus on the customers. If the customer was like somebody like a Virat Kohli or maybe somebody like a Sachin Tendulkar,
then they would want to step up.
Not always, but sometimes, you know, like they're like, let's experiment.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Let's try to experiment. Let's just not show the product. And also, if you're showing the product, it needs to be used in a way.
True. No, that's very important also, because that's the only way a brand will also create an identity.
Yeah.
Right. And there are so many niches also inside a brand. There are so many personalities that drive a brand.
Correct.
Right. Correct. So the people involved, the audiences, the team, everyone.
Let's describe an ideal client.
In a real world, an ideal client will be someone who is clear with the brief.
Correct. So first of
who knows what they want, right? Because that's the important. That's most important, because then only we'll start our end of work. We'll also be fast and smooth with achieving that goal. Yeah. Then I think second is trusting us with the process.
Correct.
Right. If you've hired us, then you trust us. Obviously, there are inputs involved. Obviously, we're working for the client. So
and they know their product.
They know their product more than us.
Yeah.
We can be creative and say, okay, that's not going to look good, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. First thing is the client, what they want, how they want, because they've spent millions.
You're right.
On the back end to reach that level, right?
Develop that product.
Yes. But I think that's the true collaboration.
Correct.
When they trust us and also give the inputs in the best way possible. Then the third is also understanding the limitations.
Yeah.
With that can be around the production, that can be around the budgeting, that can be around anything else. Yes. But understanding that and again meeting us midway somewhere.
Yeah.
And fourth is payments on time, I think.
Nice, that's a good one. You're right. I think when you talked about the reality bit, like the ideal client should understand basically the challenges, the budgets and everything. And I've seen those memes floating, where expectation versus reality.
Yeah.
Have you seen those memes?
I've seen those, but like I don't like those honestly, but because they show a very amateur approach to it,
Yeah.
right?
But generally, it's fun. But it's like basically, it's obviously emphasized to a point where it's even that is not reality.
True.
But a lot of times, like all the discussions, I'll tell you, like, and I'm not talking about the biggest brands that I've worked with. A lot of times I've worked with brands where they are like, the budgets are always, like limited. Even if I give you like 100,000 crore rupees budget and you have to just go out there, you can, spend that kind of money.
True.
There is a lot to do. But there are also clients which has like expectation really and of that extent.
True.
And the budgets are really low. And I'm not talking about primarily you and me. I'm talking about
In general, that's the problem, because the problem is everyone has access to the internet, right? So
Correct.
they all have references.
Correct.
But they don't know how people got there,
Yeah.
what all they did to achieve that end product. So
Yes.
that's, I think, that understanding. But I feel most of the big clients know that,
Yeah.
and most of the brand managers or the agency heads, they know that process. Lost in translation.
That also happens.
Yeah, because there are so many layers involved, there are so many people involved for a
Correct.
project. Like currently what's happening with me is like there is a client, then there's an agency involved. That agency has hired a production house, and that production house has hired me to execute everything. But there are like 4 gaps in the
Chinese
communication
whisper.
process. So it's not even the client's fault.
Yeah.
It's just how things are done.
Yeah. Basically, it gets lost in between, And a lot of times, I personally try, even if there are agencies involved or whoever, I personally want to sit with the client. You know. And
Because I would understand the project.
yes, a lot of times, basically, agency has a certain point of view. Agencies develop those scripts.
Yeah.
And those communication for a specific product.
And that brand identity what we talked about,
is basically agency's job, and they know how to translate it. But at the same time, the eventual go ahead, the eventual
It's going to come from the client.
from the client. Yes. If you ask me to describe an ideal client, I would say that ideal client needs to be very understanding of the reality of what is happening. Because a lot of times, I'll tell you, we are in India, and all the referencing that we do is from maybe Norway, Europe, US, Canada. So basically, यहाँ के references we took out, and we want to execute that kind of stuff in India. I'm not saying that cannot be done, but India has a different light.
True.
You go to California, the golden hour is literally golden. यहाँ पे we have like a 45-minute, maximum half an hour window for that light. An ideal client should understand what the reality of the place is, basically. Though we are also sharing references that are from international projects. The second thing is, again, like clients should directly speak to the person who is executing it, who is producing or directing, because they are ultimately going to give us a go ahead.
I feel the client also knows that, like the limitations, but I feel, again, there are so many layers and goals and pressure involved.
Now, coming to our next question, basically, which is how AI is going to impact our work. So this I get a lot on my Instagram DMs currently, So as soon as anything comes up, there are a few people that follow me and they are like, is this going to kill our work? Is this going to, like that kind of question keep popping up for me.
Yeah, I feel like people who are asking that questions repeatedly, they need to invest their time somewhere else. They're always thinking about what can go wrong, right?
Yeah.
That can happen on any other day also.
Correct.
People are already taking your jobs if you're talking about this. So just work on your craft and probably use AI in some way to develop your craft.
Correct.
And spend your time wisely instead of thinking about, oh my god, what's gonna happen. So I feel people who are just going crazy, oh, AI is gonna take over, it might, It might happen in 5 years.
If you're bad at your job, it will.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying that in a subtle way, but it might happen in 10 years. It might happen in 5 years. But looking at it, it might happen sooner than that. But just we might have to embrace it.
Correct.
And use it in our workflow, even if it's like 5% of that workflow.
Of course.
But I think that's what everyone's going to do. Because and I feel like especially around our work, I do a lot of like my work is very docu style approach.
Correct.
So the AI can never replace that.
Of course.
Because the real stories, the real emotions, and the by chance shots.
Yeah.
AI cannot replace that. AI cannot create that.
वो vibe it cannot understand also.
And after a while, people will be like, if they know this is made by AI, like there's no fun in that. There's
It
no
feels emotionless. Yeah.
Yes. So people would want to go back to the real stories, the realness of everything.
Like how we want to shoot on films and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel that trend is going to be there, and some people will make millions out of AI.
Correct.
But overall, I feel it's not there to replace everything.
Yeah.
For sure.
So recently that trend came upon, Ghibli art, and everybody.
It's been banned, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore because Studio Ghibli won the court case.
So what is your opinion on that?
I mean, it's nice, and I'll show you the impact it had in India. And I feel it's another way to get data for ChatGPT.
Correct.
Because it wanted to train its model using real people's faces, and it has done that. And the impact was like I met a cousin who's based in Rewari. Rewari is a small town in Haryana.
Correct.
Even in that town, people were making their WhatsApp DPs around that. So that's the impact. It's not just in the creative community, it's just someone who's not even related to, who doesn't even know what Studio Ghibli is, who's the founder of that, or what are the movies, they were also doing it. So that was the virality of that.
I know, man, like it completely blew everybody, and it took the internet like a storm completely,
Yeah.
And I was posting Ghibli art. So
I mean, like it looked cool.
Yeah. Also, like,
And so clean.
my Ghibli version looks better than me, so why not?
It was so nicely done. Again, it was using all the art that Studio Ghibli
has already done, and they learning from that.
Spent years
to do.
And those are all made by hand.
The movies, man, like still they evoke emotions like anything, and I think those were the movies basically. Also, other animated movies as well, are the movies that I think has the highest level of emotional evoking capacity.
True. I feel if you're someone who's like crazy about anime, that person will not relate to that.
Correct.
But I think it connected on a larger audience.
Correct.
On the virality wala aspect.
Yeah. But I think people will still, experiment with it.
Yeah.
People will still do it. And what I personally feel with AI is, I look at it as a tool. I'm not asking AI to do my job, but I'm using it to make it easier.
Yeah.
In a way.
No, you're absolutely right, because I'll tell you another good example where we were talking about agencies.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting briefs from agencies where they have already started using AI to create a KV with the product and how they want, what kind of model. They're already creating that imagery as a reference point.
Same brief came to me.
Yeah.
We were discussing basically, this is impossible to do because it's been generated by AI.
Yeah, and there are I'm like, it's a good reference point, but then don't expect the same exact thing to be. Otherwise, then you're also creating, you're killing the creativity, and you're creating so many limitations which are not honestly realistic.
Yeah, that's the point. Basically, it needs to be. Everybody needs to understand that AI and everything that you're trying to create out of it, it's basically inspired from whatever has already been done.
Yeah.
But it's basically the best case scenario.
Yeah.
What AI is basically sharing with you. Yeah. It doesn't know, like when you're going for a shoot, it might rain. You want to shoot a golden hour, but there is overcast. Weather. So these kind of things, I think we understand and we come up with better plans when we are there, and like we use those situations to create better visuals sometimes.
Plus, I feel it sets a lot of wrong expectations also.
Correct, you're right.
Between the team that, okay, if this can show the glass facade, we need that.
Yeah.
That way,
Yeah, you're right.
it's not a good workflow for everyone.
Correct. But I think it's I have received a lot of briefs that has been written by ChatGPT, and
You can tell, right?
yes,
When that
There are
happens,
ways.
you can tell.
yes,
Again.
there are ways basically, because I've been using ChatGPT from a long time. I've been like with OpenAI from I think day one. As soon as they opened their subscription model, I was part of it. Like, and most of the AI models and most of the AI bits I'm following very closely.
Nice.
You can see that people have started already using it. I have done recently. I've done 4 workshops. I've been speaking to the students, and everybody there uses ChatGPT today. They are writing their applications through ChatGPTs. They are writing their notes. Their what is that called that you submit in your college? That
Dissertation or thesis.
yeah, thesis and all that things has been.
But that's scary, right?
That's scary.
Because then there's no originality or there is no learning process for them.
Yeah.
We did that in college, and
Correct.
eventually that only helped us
Yes.
to get where we are.
Today, if you ask us to write, say 1,000 words around something, we can write it because we've done it in our like college and school time. We still do it basically when we're thinking and we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
But now people taking the help of AI, it's like giving a primary school student, like a junior school student, a calculator to do their math stuff.
Yeah.
So they're not actually learning math, they're learning how to use a calculator in a way.
But that's the scary part again, that
You're right. They don't know the fundamentals. They will never understand, like how this works fundamentally.
also the rush you get to achieve
Also, yes.
to do that in the natural way.
Spent like 5 nights to create like a thesis
Yeah.
about something which currently ChatGPT can do in like 5 seconds.
You can use ChatGPT to research or to make bullet points or to make a structure, but don't rely it on
Completely.
Completely.
Yeah. But I think, to be honest, what I believe is
Still a tool. Still a good tool.
it's a good tool, and people will start being completely rely on it. Yeah, I fear that.
Yeah.
I know, but it's going to happen
That's going to happen for sure.
sooner than we know. Because if you receiving emails written from ChatGPT, I'm receiving 70 to 75% emails that I'm currently receiving are from ChatGPT. I'm on a dating app. The person who is chatting with me, I know that she's using ChatGPT.
That's the problem, right? The authenticity
is gone.
Like, even when reading emails, you can tell, okay, this person does not talk like that.
Correct.
This is not written by him or her.
Yeah. Yes.
So that authentic factor will slowly die.
Yeah.
And I'm just not
I also
okay with
fear that.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that as well. But I think, we are getting there where we all are doomed.
For sure. It's a dark future.
There will be 2 parts to this video. One will go on Vibhor's channel and one will go on my channel. So you guys can watch it. And
Yeah, and if you like the studio, I think he's also working on a studio tour of my studio.
yes.
And I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, man. It's very organic. It's very fun because I just started off the camera. मैंने कहा अब चलो अब दिखाओ मुझे studio कैसा है.
Yeah, like literally nothing was planned, and I just showed him a tour and how I would usually do when a new person comes.
Yeah. That's how we did it. So yeah. Also stay tuned for that. Come on, man. Okay. Thanks, bro. Cut. Let's go.